Welcome to the Silhouettes of Success podcast with your host, successful entrepreneur, broker, and business mentor, Amber Weitzer. Because success comes in all shapes, sizes, and styles, the Silhouettes of Success podcast is shining the light on industrious women with a collection of curated conversations of intentional inspiration designed to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, feed your soul, and gift you with actionable insights directly from inspirational, everyday women who've shown tenacity, grit, and grace, having taken on the challenges in their lives and business and won. Remarkable, down-to-earth, and relatable, Amber and her guests will share with you uplifting and extraordinary real-life success stories, motivational ideas that just might help spark something within you. With the deepest desire to serve you, help you grow so you can begin to shine the light that will illuminate your very own silhouette of success. So, let's get to it.
Hello and welcome to the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success. Our VIP featured guest is the founder and host of the podcast, The Jewelry Journey. The podcast is not about hammering and forging. There are many other sources you can go to find that new technique. Her podcast is about the person holding the hammer and behind the forge. She has translated her jewelry passion into a truly one-of-a-kind podcast focusing on those behind the arts, the makers. She is a past board member of the Art Jewelry Forum and a speaker at the Antiques and Jewelry Conference. She is also a member of the Association for the Study of Jewelry and Related Arts and Association of Jewelry Historians. Silhouettes. Let's welcome Sharon Berman to the show. Hello, Sharon. How are you?
I'm okay. It's early here, but it's 8:00. Well, for me that's early, but I'm good.
Fantastic. Well, if I always tease, and it's actually perfect for having our Silhouette of Success conversations because people don't realize what we go through behind the scenes. As women and as, just business folks and creatives and all the things that really are behind the curtain. And so, audience today would be just a perfect example of what we do to make it happen and bring that magic to life. Would you agree, Sharon?
Yes, I'd agree. And it's I love talking to people, but it's also all the finding them and getting them to say yes and all that. There's a lot more to it.
There sure is. Well, today we are shining the light on you and talking about your journey. So, because I am very excited, and I'll break into how I came across you in a little bit and share that with the audience. But let's let you kick off the show by sharing with the audience a little bit about your background.
Well, I started liking jewelry. That's all. I started liking jewelry about 20 years ago, and it occurred to me, I was really entranced, and it occurred to me that people all over the country who would like to hear this, and there wasn't any way for them to hear it. So I started a podcast.
How long is your podcast? How long have you been doing it?
It's not, well, I had a break in it. It's about an hour, and I have about 200 plus episodes. And I had a break because for a lot of reasons, there's about a few year break, but it's going. I'm amazed because I compare myself to other podcasts, and it really is going for a long time.
I'm so excited and I'm so happy for you that you are doing this. So is the podcast? So what's even behind that? Did you have a career, or are you still engaged in another career, or is this your full-time joy right now?
Well, this is my full time. Because I'm retired, but it's my full-time occupation, let's say. I didn't have a career in jewelry, and I wanted to be able to talk to people who were in jewelry, and that's what happened. Yeah, I wanted to find out how they got into it, what keeps them, entranced after 20 years.
So, talking a little bit about that, let's turn the tables on you and your curiosity. Where do you think your passion for jewelry and curiosity of going, and we'll just tie it in behind the scenes because your podcast is unique. You're talking with the makers and the creators and learning history on that. Where do you think your curiosity originated?
That's a good question, and I'm impressed that you use the word makers in in what you're saying because they are makers, and some are jewelers and some are makers. My curiosity came because I like jewelry and I couldn't afford what all the jewelry I liked, but I liked talking to people about it, and that's about it. That's it. It's I have a library full of jewelry books, and it's because it's a lot less expensive to buy a jewelry book than it is to go out and buy a ring. So,
And, it's, I always call them eye candy.
yes, yes.
And then a book, I love a I l I'm I we get it. There's technology and there's ways that, make things a little more accessible sometimes or convenient. I just love holding a book. I love holding a book. I love looking at the pages of the photography and the art, and jewelry still dazzles and sparkles even in a book. Would you agree?
Yes. And most jewelry books, a lot of jewelry books are full of pictures, and you know, you can't take them on a plane as easily as you can a novel or something like that. It's um it's it's different. It's different. I never take them on a plane. And you go through them fast. And somebody was telling me, a publisher was telling me that only what 10% of people read the information that was in the book, and they looked at the pictures. And I thought, oh, I'm not so unusual.
I think we are moths drawn to the flame when it comes to jewelry because I am right there with you. What appeals to you? Do you most? Do you have a favorite um, maker or designer? Are you more of a do you prefer maybe the older vintage or what? Where are you drawn to?
Well, I'm drawn to one of a kind.
Uh huh.
I like, I mean, in that sometimes it's vintage. I like vintage, but I like all you have to do is tell me one of a kind, and I'm there with you. It's there's no one else has it. It's really different, and it draws me in.
Well, and that's unique to you, so you're one of a kind. Right? So that's
Yeah.
important. D do you so you mentioned you have a collection. That's not what you said. What word did you use? I'll have to go back and get that because it was beautiful. I should have written it down. You didn't use the word collection. You used something else. I don't know what it was.
I don't
Yeah.
remember, but somebody said to me, because I always, not always, but in the beginning, I always asked, "What do you consider a collection? Is it two? Is it one maker? Is it?" And somebody said to me, "Well, there isn't really such a thing as a collection. It's really that you're shepherding it for the next person who's going to have it." And I don't know that I agree, but it was different. I had never heard that before.
That is an interesting take on that.
Mhm. I don't know what word I used.
Well,
A
I will go back and find out, that's for sure,
Okay.
because because I liked it. I liked how you phrased that. What are share with us, maybe one of the favorite questions you like to ask your podcast guests when you're talking and trying to really find more about, those that are, like you say, the makers, the artist or the artisan. What do you like to ask your guests?
Well, why do they like art or vintage, or why do they like that kind of jewelry? And did they explore other kinds first and come to vintage after? I'm using vintage as an example. And that's one example. And the other would be, how does it keep? A lot of the people I've talked to have been doing it for a long time, and I feel, how do you keep your attention after 20 years or 25 years? How to keep the creativity going? And those are questions I always ask.
It's fascinating because those questions will really yield some great information of, really within their passion and within the excitement of what they're doing. So, with that said, you mentioned that you're retired now.
Mhm.
Looking at a day in the life for you, what does your day look like? Are you, because we love best practices on this podcast. Our listeners love, how does she do it? And, what's going well and what works best for different people. So, do you have a routine these days? Are you more spontaneous? Talk to us.
Well, I would say about half my day is spent on each day is spent on a jewelry journey. It's finding the person, or developing the questions. It's I have a routine that way. And one thing I wanted to say is, I really, they always talk about people not planning for their retirement. And it was very sudden with me. And I go, "Oh my god, like, what do I do now?" That's how the jewelry journey got started. This part of the jewelry journey was that I go, "Oh my god, what am I gonna do?"
But you found it and you filled it with a passion.
Yes,
And
yes. Mhm. And, some days it's more, I do more, I do less, but it is filled with a passion. I it's I had wanted to talk to jewelers. I had wanted to get to know them, and I don't have a reason to get to know them, really. I mean, I don't have, unless I buy something from them, I really don't have a reason to get to know them, and now I do.
where do you find inspiration in your world? Is it through the pieces that you see? How do you find inspiration?
That's a good question. How do I find inspiration? I think I wanna go on to the next step, and I don't know exactly what that is, whether it's, what do they call them? Something where maybe I have 4 people at once. I talk to all appraisers, or I talk to 4 makers and get their different perspectives all at once. Like, I don't know how to say it,
Like a panel?
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah. I would say that's my inspiration, um, because you could only do 'em, and I've done 200 plus, and I will continue to do them, but you could only do so many before you say, "I have to I have to up this. I have to find something new."
You have to up your game. Well, that's a perfect segue into one of my next questions. And it would be, where do you see your amazing podcast, The Jewelry Journey, going? What were your ambitions for the next step? So here we are already.
Well, I would
Yeah.
say it is a panel, different panels.
Uh-huh.
Um, when I started this, I didn't know where I would end up, and I still don't know, but I just sort of felt like, I'll see where I end up, I had n uh, no plan, but I'll see. I'll see where I end up. I don't know what else to do. This is really interesting to me, and it's either I'm good at writing. I can put together a newsletter, so it's using those skills to to write about these people.
And does that come natural for you? Do you have a history with, with writing and with, because it has a great marketing aspect to what you're doing because, you've got to market your podcast and you talked about sourcing your guests and all of those things. Do you have a background in that? Is that
Yes,
something? Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I was in marketing before, and sometimes I was professionally in marketing and public relations, but maybe I'm just tired. Sometimes I think, well, I should do this and I should do that. I know what to do, but I don't do it sometimes.
It can be a lot.
Yes.
It can be. And you and I were talking about, again, using the behind the curtains. It, it is a lot of work, and it takes many hours to do all the administrative behind the scenes sourcing, getting an interview, and all of the admin that goes with that, preparing for the interview. And you talked about that, half your
Yes.
day is doing that, the questions. And so it's not just, snap your fingers and here we are. Here's some beautiful jewelry to talk about.
Sometimes I wish when I started this, I had I had a right-hand person. I've thought about getting another right-hand person because that person would do a lot of the sourcing for me. And now I'm doing it all myself.
Well, there's also I do mine as well. And for me, and so let's just kind of go into this. For me, it's just such a pleasure and an honor. But when I found your podcast, I was just enamored, first of all, with you and with what you're doing. And it's when you see that, and it's that personal, I need to meet her. I want to showcase her. So sometimes if you do have that other person helping you, there's not that authentic draw and desire, right, to connect with that person.
That's true. Do you think you like the podcast because it was jewelry or because there was something about the podcast?
I found it because of jewelry, and I was drawn to it because of you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So I was researching some vintage jewelry and the
Mhm.
different marks and markings and hallmarks on some pieces that I have, because I have a little vintage to do. And on the side, right? We all have these side hustles or side gigs we talk about. And your podcast, just listening to you and your guests, especially one in particular, I was researching some rhinestones. So you might know who I'm talking about. But it was so helpful to listen to you both talk through some of just the history on the stones and how they don't make them like they used to, and so it was fascinating.
Eh, it's interesting, and they don't make anything like they used to, that's true.
They
They don't
don't.
they don't.
The quality and the just the detail, and yeah, there you can it's just night and day. It's definitely but there we've got to talk about you. So you and I would both start going down the jewelry. All right, so milady, we're going to take a quick sponsor break and we'll be right back.
Okay.
I personally have been investing with Ashcroft Capital for about 5 years. I know the co-founder, Joe Fairless, pretty darn well. He's my brother, so I can personally vouch for him and how he approaches things. I like investing with Ashcroft because of the monthly cash flow. They buy apartment buildings, improve them, and then sell them. It's a good business to be in, and I'm glad to passively invest with them. You can learn more at ashcroftcapital.com. That's ASHCROFT capital.com. All right, Sharon, we are back. So let's talk a little bit more. The audience really, I get great feedback on this question because it kind of dives deeper into the guest, and it's really a two-part question. But was there ever a specific point in time, event, or key situation in your professional life that really forced you to take a monumental shift in your business or career? And what was the result, positive or painful? How did it help you grow going through that situation?
Well, I got tired of what I was doing, and so I started exploring the jewelry. People would say I'm really, I still have to figure out how to monetize it. I don't monetize it, and people would say I'm really, it's silly not to, but I wanted to make sure that I could do it first. And I think that was the turning point.
Yeah, it probably also would be one of your goals going back to the panel, have holding your panels, and then monetizing it as well. So you've got two big goals on the horizon.
Yes, I do.
Exciting goals, yes.
Yes. I, um, I'm about ready to start with the panels and maybe a newsletter, I don't know.
Love
Um,
it, love it. I say yes. I would be excited and look forward to that. Yes.
how did you get the name Amber, if I can ask?
Oh, well, that would be my parents, right? The story goes that in the hospital room, there was a debate on the name. My dad wanted to name me Desiree, and my mom said, "Nope, she looks more like an Amber because of the you know and I don't know if it was from the book Forever Amber, which I have two copies of it. I have a beautiful tattered old copy. I don't even know the date on it, truthfully, that she had for so many years, and then I bought a new copy, but to this day I still have not read it, but I need to because I hear she's quite a piece of work in that book, so I don't know. Um, are you drawn to the gem or the resin amber? Do you have a lot of pieces?
I don't have a lot of pieces, but I'm drawn to. Always curious about how people got their jewelry names, a gem name, something like
Yes.
that. Um,
Yes.
yeah, like an amber.
Yeah, I know it's fascinating when I tell my children, we watch Jurassic Park or something like that, and it's a bug inside, And I said, but look, eventually it's a gem, it's always funny. Um, so talking through your amazing podcast and what you're doing, when do you feel the greatest sense of satisfaction within what you are doing currently?
Greatest sense of satisfaction. It's probably when I ask somebody that I question whether they'd be on. Maybe they're well known and like, who am I? And they they say yes. That's one. I would say that's really when I get my most satisfaction, when I can do a podcast with somebody who's really well known, and I wouldn't have a chance to talk to them otherwise.
Isn't it interesting? We hear so many times, if you don't ask, you won't know. Right. And that's a
Right.
line I put in my invitations because my mother always taught us that, hey, if you don't ask, you don't know.
I liked that line in your invitations.
Oh, did you
Yeah,
see?
and it's very true,
It
and
is.
I try and keep it in mind. I won't know unless I ask, but um, a lot of times they're just really big wigs. I remember once it was several years ago. I asked the CEO of a pearl company. This was in Israel. I asked them if they'd do the podcast, and I was sure. I mean, you know, that's all they have time to do. But he was like, "Oh yeah, sure." I was like, "Oh, okay." it was it was different.
It is. It's exhilarating when you think, "Oh, okay, yes," and then all of a sudden it's, "Oh, I hope I do everything. I hope it all goes well." And but Sharon, would you agree, or do you find that people really do want to participate? People really do want to share. Do you come across that?
I think it's two things they want to share, and then I think they think that I am going to promote them and they'll get more business. I don't know if that's true, but they do wanna share, and they they're usually very happy to say, "I'll tell you," "I'm happy to tell you," or to share, basically.
Yeah. Well, and that's what it's all about. And it works. If they ever ask you, Sharon, you tell them yes, it does work because of some things that I saw on your podcast, because of the amazing work that you put into securing these fantastic guests on your show and the resources. It draws me as your audience into researching them, your guest or their product or their business, and finding out more about what they're doing. So you can tell them emphatically, yes, it does work.
It spreads the word. It
It
really does.
does.
I interview a lot of people overseas. Nobody would know them here unless they listen to the podcast.
Yeah. So you're bringing that curiosity, and how big would you, or how vast would you think, or maybe you have numbers or stats on this, is the jewelry, maybe the more of the nostalgia, the good pieces, right? The vintage, the Weiss, and all of those. How how big do you think that audience is, that is curious and that is interested and involved in cherishing these pieces?
You know, uh, um, that's a hard question because the downloads, we might have 700 downloads, but I don't know how many people passed it on or, said, you have to hear this or whatever. I don't think it's that
Yeah.
big in numbers, but I think it's not like uh, I can't think of the guy who this there are a lot of podcasts that are a lot bigger, but there are also more generic.
Yeah. Well, from me to you, I did share
Mm.
one of your rosy rhinestones. I shared that episode. It was a two-part, part one and part two. I shared part two because that's what caught my attention for a conversation some of my friends over in the antique world were having around, costume jewelry and different things that we're researching. So there you go. So you can tally that mark up. In the I know somebody that shared my podcast column. Sharon, we all crave great resources that might help uplift or expand our minds. Do you have a favorite author or book or mentor that you'd want to share with the audience, and what makes it or them a favorite?
Well, I think if somebody wants to learn about jewelry, there's there's understanding jewelry, which doesn't sound so great, but it's understanding jewelry, and there's first the understanding jewelry by I can't remember. I can't remember him. It's a thick book. And then his partner wrote Understanding Jewelry of the 20th Century. Her name is Danielle Machete. And they're both great books if you just want to learn the history and the timeline and you want to see pictures.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm writing that down. That will be on my research list today. How about what about markings and hallmarks? And do you have any resources that you could share for identifying these markings? Is there a favorite resource or place that you go to look when you're doing your research on your pieces?
I give you a lot of credit for doing it. I am not that detail oriented.
Okay.
Let me see. There's a new book, a couple of years old, just on hallmarks by, I don't know her last name. Her first name is Danusa. It's a very unusual name. And, but, unless it's a book that has the hallmarks of the person they're talking about, I really don't know of one.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. That gives us something to go on. We like a good quest. Oh, my lady, it has been so wonderful visiting with you today.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed talking with you.
Well, thank you. Keeping the promise, we like to share a promise with our audience of intentional inspiration. Is there a piece of key go-to advice that resonates with you that maybe you turned to or was shared with you at some point in your life that you'd like to pass on to the audience?
I'm not, nothing falls off the tip of my tongue except it is very, what still resonates with me is, it sounds silly, but it says, you don't know the end, or don't write the ending. Don't write the ending. And I always think of that because I don't know the ending. How, is this how this is going to turn out? Or is this, really, it's don't write the ending yet. And I don't know if that makes any sense.
It makes complete sense. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, my lady. All right. I know I've got to let you go. I know you've got lots to get done.
We both
And
do.
yeah, we could be talking jewelry all day, but really wanted to showcase you. You're just doing such great things and exciting things and valuable things. So keep it up. Sharon, this is all about you. So I want to give you the complete stage and microphone here. So, where can our audience go to find and connect with you if you want to share your socials or support you in your continued success of your podcast, The Jewelry Journey?
Well, I would say the best place is probably Instagram. It's at Arts and Jewelry. And that's where we post. I mean, I have an editor I work with. I don't even know if we post on Facebook. I think we do in some of the other social media, but the Instagram is the one place that we really concentrate on. It's at Arts and Jewelry. And next time we talk, Amber, maybe you know how as you get underway, in the beginning, you don't know exactly what is the right thing. Next time the name of the podcast may be different for the same thing.
Oh, she's got a story to tell. I love it. I love it. Sneak peek. Okay. Well, Sharon, we will make sure and include that link and then your podcast link and all those things in the show notes. So you are a click away for our audience to join and find you and support you. We truly appreciate you spending time with us today. You are a brilliant light and inspiration. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Silhouettes of Success podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all the new episodes. We are here for you and with you. We encourage you to share this podcast on all your socials and pass on the light to help illuminate another silhouette of success. To find out the latest ways to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, and gain actionable insights, subscribe at thesilhouettesofsuccess.com or connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We're grateful that you've tuned in. Remember, you are exactly where you need to be, right here with us. This is the Amber Weitzer Podcast, Silhouettes of Success.